The discovery of the Tisulskaya princess is a mystery that appeared only in the last century, although they still talk about it. In 1969, the calm and quiet life of the village of Rzhavchik in the Tisulsky district of the Kemerovo region changed overnight. In the depths of a coal mine, miners found a sarcophagus in which there was a very beautiful woman of European appearance, but her age was several million years. What did the miners manage to film, and why did many of them not survive after the discovery? Let's figure it out. Mankind, year after year, is faced with various inexplicable things, be it climatic or physical phenomena. Some of them simply have no logical explanation, but still exist in our history. Every day we try to match what we are taught: moral behavior, appearance, and how dangerous it is to stand out from the herd. Everything is like in a well-known film. Sometimes we are given finds and we, as real scientists, must think about them. Only all this without even suspecting it, that the result was written long ago by the creator of this game. Today I want to tell you about one of these finds. According to one story, an ancient sarcophagus was discovered in the Kemerovo region. It was less than 100 years ago. In the sarcophagus was an embalmed young woman of European appearance, and the main phenomenon was that her appearance, skin, and face were completely intact. The body simply did not rot. The article about the find itself was first published in the newspaper Archive number 124. The year of publication remains unknown. It is thanks to the publication that this story has somehow survived and still reached our days. You can speculate about it and find inconsistencies. And everything seems to be wonderful here. The information has reached ordinary people and is about to reveal its secrets. But as always happens, plans change quickly. The sarcophagus itself and the Tisul princess who was in it disappeared without a trace at one moment, and the people who worked in that area either disappeared or died. But let's take everything in order. It was September 1969, at a depth of 70 meters in a coal seam, miner Karnaukov, who later died under strange circumstances in an accident, discovered a 2-meter marble sarcophagus. It was here that a unique archaeological find was made, which became a legend. The site manager, Masalagan, immediately ordered all work to be stopped, after which the sarcophagus was carefully raised to the surface, and the workers, deciding that they had stumbled upon a treasure, began to knock off the petrified putty from the lid without even waiting for the bosses to arrive. The interest in their eyes was higher than the fear of the consequences, and after a while in the sunlight, the putty suddenly melted. It turned out that it was an ethereal liquid, which at depth, due to the temperature difference, became a kind of resin. This did not frighten the workers much, and one of them boldly stuck his hand into the sarcophagus and pulled it out painlessly. After a while, this man ended up in the hospital with a mental disorder. At the moment when the marble box was finally opened, it became clear that it was a cube that was filled to the brim with a transparent pink-blue liquid. And inside lay a woman. She was tall, about 180 centimeters, and looked about 30 years old. Her blue eyes were wide open, and she was dressed in a white translucent dress with embroidery. Having learned of the find, this information was immediately reported to the nearest city, and they began to wait. In the confusion, the sarcophagus was not closed, and all morning the villagers came to look at the amazing find. Later, the district authorities arrived and ordered everyone to leave, stating that this place is contagious. Lists were made of everyone who came to look at the sarcophagus, supposedly for a medical examination. A little later, you will understand what this was really for. After a while, the loading of the sarcophagus into the helicopter began, but as it turned out, it was too heavy. Not thinking of anything smarter to make the task easier, the workers decided to drain the liquid. However, as soon as the woman's body came into contact with the air, it began to turn black. The liquid was poured back inside, and the face of the deceased returned to its previous appearance. It was necessary to call in additional forces to successfully load the sarcophagus into the helicopter. The cargo was sent to Novosibirsk, and a week later a professor arrived from there with stunning news. The Tisul princess had been buried 800 million years ago. This is surprising, given that the age of coal is only 400 million years. Moreover, the professor noted that the princess's dress was made of a fabric of unknown origin, and the composition of the embalming fluid could not be determined. It is only known that it contains components resembling onions and garlic. Nothing more was said to the simple workers, and the local district newspaper published a short note about the find, quoting the professor's report. However, soon the military and police arrived in the Tisulsky district. The area was cordoned off, the newspaper was confiscated from the residents, and the site of the find was destroyed, turning it into a dump. Dissatisfied residents mysteriously died of diseases or accidents. The following year, 6 workers who opened the sarcophagus died in car accidents. All this forced the remaining witnesses to remain silent. In 1973, large-scale excavations began 6 kilometers from the original site of the discovery, conducted in conditions of strict secrecy. In the spring of 2012, the author of the first article, already almost forgotten, reminded people of himself again. He said that after the publication of his material, he had an accident but escaped with minor bruises. Then the calls from the committee began. They asked him for the name of the talkative colonel and strongly recommended that he write a humorous continuation of the article so that no one would take the discovery seriously. After his refusal, his career as a journalist was put to rest. In 2013, a story about the Tisul princess was shown on Central Television. It became known that 2 more similar burials aged 200 million years had been found in this area. However, the program did not reveal anything new, except that the sarcophagus was sent to Moscow for examination and that foreign spies had appeared in the area looking for new artifacts. The question arises, maybe all this secrecy was created for one thing, to protect Darwin's theory? After all, people used to walk with a stick and fight with monkeys. What kind of sarcophagi, embalming, and the finest clothing can there be? People broke stones and fought with animals. That's exactly what the well-known theory assures us. And it seems to me that this find carried some ancient knowledge, not intended for wide publicity. Just imagine, all this could shed light on the true history of Rus and its population, about those peoples who once lived in Siberia and created states. But remember, on TV they still let it slip. Such a tomb was not the only one. Several more sarcophagi of a similar type were found next to it, but all these unique archaeological artifacts found in the village of Rzhavchik also disappeared without a trace. Many accepted the version of the extraterrestrial origin of the Tisul princess. Supposedly, this is a creature from another planet, which was buried on planet Earth, but the results of the genetic examination show that the genome of the beauty coincides with the genome of modern residents of the Urals. That is, many millions of years ago, there was a similar nation on Earth, and the Tisul princess is a representative of our ancestors. In other words, the princess's tissues by DNA perfectly match the DNA of the Russian ethnic group, or Slavs, to put it more simply. And as we remember, the history of the Slavs over the centuries was clearly cut off, and even officially everything appeared only with the advent of Rurik, which once again leads us to the fact that they began to monitor the find immediately.